All right, I'm here to give you MLK highlights for the 2022-2023 school year. I am Principal Perry, and if you think you know everything about MLK, well, you have no idea. So, welcome to the 2022-2023 MLK highlights. During this presentation, I will share with you academic and cultural highlights from throughout the school year. On tomorrow, we will host our first induction ceremony for the National Honor Society. Also, we're gearing up for dual enrollment at two post-secondary secondary schools, Moore Tech College, where we'll have property maintenance and welding, and Southwest Community Colleges, where we'll have scholars transition to their campus for further instruction for dual enrollment classes. MLK College Prep was blessed this year by surprising our student body with not only a performance, but a $25,000 donation to the Senior and Fine Arts Department from our former student, Glorilla, known as Gloria Woods. Also, seniors had multiple opportunities throughout this year, from on-site job and college fairs, campus tours, to visiting local museums throughout Memphis. As you can see, this is where we were awarded our $25,000 check from Glorilla. Shout out to Gloria Woods. Not only did we have students to enter post-secondary education, but we had scholars to enroll in the U.S. military. In addition, this designation, FAFSA champion, is awarded to schools whose Tennessee Promise FAFSA completion rate increased by 5% over the previous year, or whose Tennessee Promise FAFSA completion rate exceeded 90%. Shout out to our senior class. Shout out to Ms. Mont Miller, Mr. Key, and Ms. Howe for your efforts. Our ACES department experienced many opportunities inside and outside the classroom this year. Students traveled to Lambert's Cafe in Sikeston, Missouri for their end of the year incentive. We had 4 students ranked in the top 20 in our senior class, 4 students who received OSHA 10 certifications, 4 students who have industry certifications. We have 1 student who qualified for dual enrollment to Southwest Community College. And from our best coffee in town, our students raised over $2,000. Also, we have the Teaching All Students opportunity, where next year, Ms. Robinson will be leading the efforts into ensuring that our students receive rigorous instruction embedded in academic standards and in classrooms so that they can receive the same opportunities as any student in our building and in our county, state, nationwide. From a successful toy drive led by Ms. Deborah Buford, to performances in the Christmas program, to participating in the Honors Chick-fil-A brunch, our ACES students were pumped about learning. Next up, we have our English teachers who are lit about teaching. Go English Squad. Major success in the end of the year IPG walkthrough. Gains were made in student mastery of content, time spent in the text, and identifying textual evidence. This year, the science department was super excited about the grand opening of our science lab. Students were able to take their learning to new heights through hands-on lab experimentation and using the phenomenon embedded in their lesson to drive their thinking and learning. In November, our MLK scientists had the opportunity to visit Discovery Park of America. This field trip was successful by receiving a scholarship from the Kirkland Memorial Scholarship Foundation, and also in part to Ms. Berry and Ms. Evans driving this effort. Finally, MLK Science Department hit 100% of phenomenons driving the lesson. Substantial growth was made in mastery of content, access to observable content of the phenomena, modeling, engineering, and science practices, and a plethora of other indicators on our IPG rubric. Let's hear it for our math department. One major thing that we accomplished this year is that we secured our math MCL coach during our second semester with Miss Lynette Moore, who transitioned from Westside to MLK. Shout out to Miss Moore. All classes hit the aspect of rigor at 100% this year. Students worked at grade level standards, and an increase in doing majority of the work was evident with a growth of 2.0 to a 3.0 in our last walkthrough. Our history department made their presence known this year. It's one for the history books. Ms. Riles led a successful student teach-in at White Station High School. Students were excited about leading a teaching lesson before their parents, teachers, and school leaders. Students prepared for this session for over 2 months. Kudos to this dynamic squad. As you can see, we have our 11th grade students, Jamiria Harwell, Lakivia Henderson, and Antonio Smith, who facilitated a teach-in at this session with Facing History in Ourselves. When we say that learning should extend outside the classroom, that's exactly what Ms. Perkins displayed in April for her economics class. This was an all hands-on experience that students led. Students had the opportunity to market and sell items for their business. Prior to participating in the event, they had to submit a business proposal as a vendor to Ms. Perkins. Our Black History program was one for the record. Students took ownership this year in leading the efforts to make this year's program a success. Shout out to Ms. Hooks and her history squad. Wow, our case growth for history showed significant gains. Our case 1 to case 3, we had 4 students performing above grade level, and almost 10% of students performed at grade level or higher. Shout out to you all, U.S. History. Our CTE department took off with a bang this year. Culinary arts students enjoyed the hands-on learning from Chef Wilburn. AV production in its first year and was filled to capacity with students who was interested in audio and visual production. Our welding classes began using the simulators to apply methodologies to engineering practices. And look at there. Is that a girl welding? Yes, girls can weld too. Shout out to Charisma Tolbert. Great productions that were developed this year through our Fine Arts and Electives department. Our majorettes showcased their talents this year. MLK STEP team under the guidance of Mr. Mateen was a major hit this year. And as you can see, you're wondering like, who are the people behind the scenes? Who are we outside of the classroom? Well, let me tell you. This year we had over 50 students show up for our ACT prep and Saturday tutoring. For homecoming festivities such as Pajama Day, Themed T-shirt Day, Anything But a Bag Day, to supporting not only our District of FCS Day, but also each other outside the classroom. Case in point, Mr. Key's performance in the Scottsboro Boys this spring. We have enjoyed the support of the district for Glorilla's surprise performance during homecoming to our annual Soup and Socks Day. We had so much success in our MLK Teacher Town PD, not only led by our IoT team, but classroom teachers as well. Teachers across all contents collaborated on strategies to increase student engagement and also how to differentiate lessons, just to name a few. Let us not forget about our favorite time of the year, Teacher Appreciation Week. Teachers received a round-trip airfare to Paris, Europe, Mexico. We also provided in-flight snacks on our flight back to Memphis, thanks to our wonderful MCL flight attendants. Students voted this year on our best teacher and staff of the year. To no avail, Ms. Riles and Ms. Price took the recognition for the 2022-2023 school year. Kudos to these wonderful ladies who brighten up our building each day with their presence.